When most of us think about filing a VA claim, we think about claiming everything, every injury, every condition, every last thing that service ever cost us, all of it on the table. It is the natural instinct, and it is the first thing worth rethinking, because the strongest claims are almost never built that way. The reason comes down to something simple. The VA cannot rate anyone higher than 100%. For a lot of women who served long enough, an honest list of everything they carry would add up well past that ceiling. So trying to claim every single condition does not get you higher. Claiming everything only buries the conditions that actually matter under the ones that do not move the rating. So the real work is not gathering everything. The real work is knowing which conditions to put at the center and building the claim around those. Choosing the right conditions is what separates a claim that reaches its full rating from one that stalls. And that same focus is what makes this process more manageable than it looks. And here is why this is more manageable for a woman than for almost anyone else. A woman's claim can often be built around the conditions tied directly to her service, conditions that carry real weight on their own. Instead of chasing a long list, you are working with a focused one. That focus on a few strong service-connected conditions is the advantage every step in this process builds on. So for now, set aside everything else you have heard about the process. The records, the C&P exam, the filing forms, the deadlines, all of it has its place, and all of it comes later. None of those steps are what we are doing here. What we are doing here is the part that comes before all of that, and it happens in 3 moves. First, you turn your experiences into conditions, naming what you actually live with. Then you turn those conditions into evidence, the proof the VA can act on. And last, you tie each condition to its evidence so the VA can see the connection plainly. Experience becomes condition. Condition becomes evidence. Evidence ties back to the condition. That is the whole path, and we take it one step at a time. So let's take that first move, turning your experiences into conditions. Here is what that actually means. An experience is what you lived through, in plain words. The gear you carried for years, the nights you do not sleep, the thing that happened that you have never said out loud. A condition is only the name the VA puts on that experience so it can rate it. Same thing, 2 languages. And this is the part that matters most. You do not need to know the medical name. That is not your job, and it never was. Your job is only to recognize the experience honestly, to say, yes, that happened to me, or yes, I live with that. Naming it in the VA's terms comes later, and it is the easier half. The recognizing is what only you can do, so the way we start is backward from what you would expect. We do not begin with a list of diagnoses and ask which ones you have. We begin with your service and your body, and we let the conditions surface from there. To make that clear to think through, we are going to look at it in 2 parts. First, the physical, what you carry in your body, then the mental and emotional, what you carry in your mind. Let's start with the physical, because it is the part you can point to. As we go through these, you are not filing anything or writing anything down. You are only checking them against your own life, one at a time, and noticing which ones are yours. Start with what the weight did. For years you carried gear, armor, and packs that were never shaped for a woman's frame, and that load lands somewhere. For most of us, it settled into the lower back, the hips, and the knees. If there is pain in those places that started in service and never left, that is not ordinary aging. That is a condition. Next are the conditions that belong to women specifically, the reproductive and gynecological ones. Conditions like endometriosis, or a problem that grew serious enough to need surgery. These come up here for a reason. They are among the most overlooked conditions in the entire system, because so many women were never told these connect to service at all. They do. Then there are the ones that do not point to a single spot, they just wear on you. Migraines and headaches, tiredness that a full night of sleep never fixes, sleep that comes broken, or sleep apnea that started somewhere in your service and never got better. The aches and flare-ups that a doctor has maybe struggled to put a name to. If any of that is part of your ordinary day, it belongs on the list too. Now we come to the second group, and this one is harder to point to, so I am going to walk into it differently. I am not going to start by asking whether you have anxiety or depression or PTSD, and there is a reason for that. A lot of women hear those words, and something in them says, that is not me. that is not what I have. So, we are not going to begin with the labels. We are going to begin with your ordinary days and how they actually feel. So, let me just ask you a few honest questions, and you answer them quietly to yourself. When you lie down, do you sleep, or does your mind refuse to shut off? Do you still feel like yourself, or like someone who came home a little different than she left? Do you find yourself on guard in places where you should feel perfectly safe? Have you drifted away from people you used to be close to? Do small things sometimes set off a reaction in you that feels much bigger than it should? If you were nodding along to any of that, I want you to understand what it means. Those things you just felt are not weakness, and they are not just everyday stress that everybody has. Those exact feelings are what the VA files under conditions like PTSD and anxiety and depression. The feeling itself is the condition. You do not have to walk in already knowing the medical word for it. You only have to be honest with yourself about how you have been living. And for a lot of women, some of what we just talked about traces back to something that happened in service, military sexual trauma, or harassment. I am not going to ask you to relive anything here. I only want you to know that it belongs on your list too, and that it is one of the most important conditions a woman can bring forward. So look at where you are now, without pulling a single record, without filling out one form. You have done the first move. You have looked at your service, your body, and your mind, and you have started to see the conditions inside your own experience. That is the part no one can do for you, and you have already started it. The next move is turning those conditions into evidence, the proof the VA can actually act on. And this is the point where the fear usually creeps in, because people think evidence means a stack of records they do not have. It does not only mean that. Your own account of what happened and how you live with it is evidence. A statement from someone who served with you is evidence. A doctor putting your condition on paper today is evidence. Records help, but they are not the only proof that counts. That is why this can be built slowly, even from nothing. A condition with no paperwork behind it yet is not a dead end. It is a starting point you build evidence toward, one piece at a time, which is exactly why claiming everything works against you. Every condition you carry needs its own evidence, and your time and effort are not endless. Spend them on the conditions that carry the most weight, not on a long list that scatters them thin. So the last move is tying each condition to its evidence, and this is the one that actually decides a claim. A condition on its own is a claim of something. The evidence on its own is just a fact. What the VA needs is the line drawn between them, the reason to believe this condition came from that service. Drawing that line is the difference between a claim that holds and one that gets denied. Sometimes that line is short. A knee that was hurt in service, treated in service, and still hurts today almost draws itself. But the conditions that matter most for women are often the ones where the line takes real care to draw, where the connection between what happened in service and what you carry now has to be shown, not assumed. That is the work this channel exists to help with, and it is the work worth doing well. And that is the honest shape of a claim, start to finish. You recognize the experience, you name it as a condition, you gather the evidence, and you tie each condition to its evidence so the VA can see the connection, not everything you carry. The conditions that carry the most weight, built one solid line at a time. So now you know what putting a claim together actually asks of you. You recognize your experiences, you name them as conditions, you build evidence, and you tie the two together. Not an endless pile, a focused set of the conditions that carry the most weight. That is the whole of it, and there is nothing hidden behind it, which means the decision in front of you is a real one, and it is yours to make. Some women will look at this and decide to build it themselves, one condition at a time. Others will decide they want help carrying it. Both are right. The only wrong move is walking away, believing it is too tangled to attempt because you have just seen that it is not. And one last thing, because it matters. Reaching the maximum rating does not mean the maximum is all you carried. The VA cannot go higher than 100%, but many of us gave past that. What the rating covers is what the VA can compensate. What sits beyond it, the rest of the weight, is the cost of service, and it is carried in the heart, not on a form. Getting the rating you earned does not erase it. It just makes sure you are compensated for as much of it as the law allows. Before you go, there is something to keep. It is called the inventory sheet, the same walk we just took put in your hands. It is pinned at the top of the comments. So tell me down there, have you started gathering yours, or is today the day you begin? I answer every comment, and I promise this gets lighter the moment you start. Nothing here is a promise of any particular rating. Every claim is different. What we give you is the cleanest way we know to execute. For Guard and Reserve, Women Veterans, Step by Step, or Benefits News, subscribe to the channel that fits your fight. Next, we sort your list into primary and secondary conditions, the difference that turns a pile of conditions into an organized claim and shows the VA exactly how they connect. This was always kept in the dark. Together, we're bringing it into the light.